Today is day 1 of my sourdough journey. So I'm going to be starting with my sourdough starter. I got this big ass bag of flour and we're going to start this journey. So I've been reading different articles and different blogs and different posts, and I've been a little worried to start because I'm not really a baker. I'm a chef, but not really into baking. But I do want to get into more baking. So I'm gonna start this journey, and I did read that it's very forgiving, the sourdough starter. So even if you mess up, you can still kind of bring it back to life. So let's go ahead and start. This is what I'm using so far to start. We have our clean container. This has 50 grams of flour. And then I have now 50 grams of filtered water, and I made sure that it reads at the temperature between 85 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So now that our flour is there, we're gonna put in our water. And there we have it. We're gonna mix that up. Meet Bob. This is the sourdough starter official introduction to YouTube. His name is Bob. So I allowed Enrique to name the sourdough starter. He's always wanted to name our children Bob. And yeah, I don't want to name our children Bob. So I let him name the sourdough starter. So meet Bob. Day 1. Enrique, meet Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Dad. You can eat me in 10 days.
10 days. And it's going to be a little bit of this.
It's not. This is the beginning of a new adventure.
Okay. I know you're all for science adventures.
Day 2. Look at Bob. So Bob grew, so you can see the elastic band of where he grew, and you can see the little bubbles is happening. Bob's working. Yay, Bob. So now we're gonna do the second feeding. So I'm gonna remove half. We're gonna weigh it, and we're gonna add in, so it's ratio 1 to 2 to 2. So 1 starter, 2 water, 2 flour. Let's go. Bob. Bob is bubbling. Bob is growing. We're gonna feed Bob. So I'm gonna take the lid off. Oh, so take it off first. Okay, so now I have to subtract the weight of the jar, which I recorded, and then we take out half of the starter, and we put in 50 grams and 50 grams. Got the 50 grams of flour in there. I already measured and brought to temperature. We lost 2 grams. I'm gonna mix. Day 4, I just fed Bob. So last time when we came home, he was like up here, like so high up. And then, so if you're trying this at home and you see it rise and you see it drop back down, it's supposed to do that. So last night it was all the way up here, and then this morning it came back down like around here. So I discarded and then I fed him again. Day 4. On day 5 with the Bob journey. So Bob has a bit of a liquid on top today. This is called the hooch, which is fine. It just means that he's really hungry. So today, day 5, we're going to keep 25 grams of Bob, and we're gonna add in 3 parts water and 3 parts flour. So while I'm measuring out the flour, I put the water at 1 on the stovetop. So it can reach up to 90 degrees. So between 85 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit is where you want to be. Deja vu almost. These are actually fluffier than yesterday. Sourdough discard pancakes. Day 6 feeding Bob. That's how much he weighs right now. Remember the jar is 187 grams, so I did the math. I'm gonna leave 25 grams of starter in there, add 50 grams of water and 50 grams of flour. Good morning. We are on day 7 of Bob. So what's happening, it rises and falls during its whatever fermenting time. So since we're on day 7, I'm gonna still feed it 25 grams of starter. So I'm gonna take some out, and then 75 grams of flour, 75 grams of water. We're gonna make sure the water's at good temperature. I'm doing 90 Fahrenheit. I have the discard from yesterday. I'm gonna put more discard here. I'm saving this in the fridge. So I'm gonna try and make crackers, I think, with this now. So the discard doesn't have to necessarily rise, so crackers is a good thing. So I already weighed this. This is 75 grams of water, and we're just gonna put it at just min. So by the time we measure this out, it should be ready. And we're gonna turn this scale on, and then we're gonna put Bob on without the lid. So we already weighed the containers 187 grams plus the 25 grams we're gonna keep. So we need 212 grams here. So we're gonna scoop out. You can see it's a little liquidy. So that's called the hooch. It means he's hungry. And we're gonna take that out and just pour it here. That's the discard from yesterday. We can make some crackers. So I'm just gonna keep unscooping and scooping here until I get 212. 212, so it's not much left that's in there. And we got our water going, so we're gonna take the temperature of that. So the room right now is at 76.5. I'm just gonna tilt it. And we're gonna bring it up to 90. Make sure it's not touching the bottom of the pot, so you can get an accurate reading. Staying here, so I'm just gonna put it back on a little long. So while that's heating up, we can get some flour going. So we're gonna weigh that. Make sure you tar it back. We're gonna go to 75 grams. So that's where we're at right now. So between 85 and 90 Fahrenheit is good. So we're pretty good. I'm just gonna make sure it's not gonna go over too much. We'll just kind of shake it and air it out and bring back the temperature down. That should be fine in a few minutes. Wait out the water, but just for funsies. Perfect. So we're gonna mix that up with the spatula. So it's good to have this like spatula with the sides, so you can really scrape down the sides. So we're gonna get a good mix, and I'll show you. What it's gonna look. So we're gonna scrape the sides like that. Scrape the sides. So it looks like that. Alright, so we put our lid on. And we're just going to adjust a little bit of the marking so that since today is day 7 of Bob, we're going to check in 4 to 6 hours that it's doubling in size. And we're going to do a floating test. So we'll be back for that. At day 8 for Bob, I put Bob in a little towel just to keep him a little warmer because I do have the AC going on now. And I haven't been noticing that he's doubling up like he used to at the beginning. So what I found out is that at the beginning that's called a false rise. So it is a lot active in the beginning, and then the next few days it will look like it's dying or it's dormant, it's kind of sleeping. We're gonna keep going at it from my research on the sourdough group. They had told me to keep going at it, and between day 10 and day 14 is really when it starts to pick back up again. So I thought it was around day 7 from when I first researched, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. I put him in a little towel, and we're just gonna keep going till day 10, 14, and it has to double up in size for 3 days in a row, and then we can start using the Bob. Oh my god, guys. I made crackers. Update, Bob. So, like, it's not really growing. I don't know what's happening. It's bubbly, but it does smell like bread now. It doesn't smell like all soury and whatever like it did at the beginning. So, I just watched another little video. I'm just gonna get a brand new jar. I'm gonna take out 25 grams of this and again feed it. I think I'm just gonna do the 50-50 again, and get a brand new jar and clean this one out, and then continue back to use this one after. So let's see if this works, or I don't know, I just have to keep feeding it. I don't know what's happening. They say that if you use like whole wheat flour or like rye flour, because it has more bacterias in there and it can grow faster, but I got just all-purpose flour. So yeah, Bob is still here. You won't believe it. I almost cried. He's starting to grow again, Bob. Hold on. Oh my god, Bob is growing. This is the most he's ever. Guys, Bob is ready. I already fed him like not even an hour ago. Look at him, he's growing. So I fed him last night, and he doubled up 3 days in a row. And then you have to see this little dome on top before it kind of sinks. So this morning he was very bubbly, very thick, very frothy. So we're starting bread. And I fed him and like he's already growing so fast. Bob, we made it. It's day 31.